right now, you need to watch this video. So the other day, of course, there was the presidential debate, and of course there was one major point that everybody's talking about now. Social media going crazy with already this sound being made, and hundreds, thousands of people making videos. But it's been like 2 days and there's already 26,500 videos.
Eat the cat, eat the cat, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
This all came from this one video that this guy just remixed it and people got nuts. Meanwhile though, in Ohio, this happened yesterday. Like, what the hell? The cops found this 27-year-old woman with blood and...
What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, let me break it down for you guys, man. We break down the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all my supporters, man, who come back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man, commenting down below, and most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button on each and every single video I drop, man. You guys are helping us push us into the algorithm, man. We're growing day by day, so I appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today, seekers. Let's do what we do best, man. Let's seek the truth. That's
The most disturbing cults in history, part 1. These are the Anthill Kids, founded by this man, Roch Theriot, in Quebec, Canada. These events took place throughout the 70s and 80s. Using his excellent charismatic skills, he actually convinced a group of people to quit their jobs and follow him, promising unity and equality. He forbid them contact with their family and moved them out to the mountains. He called it Eternal Mountain. In 1978, he prepared for doomsday, having his followers build a town that could save them. He relaxed while they worked and compared them to ants on an anthill. To gain more followers and keep them devoted, he impregnated all female members. They were also forced to wear the same outfit, promoting equality.
What? Manipulators,
Creepy
man.
urban legends
Dangerous.
from each country, part 4.
Mexico, La Lorena. La Lorena is the ghost of a woman who drowned her own children in a river, only to be condemned in the afterlife to search for their bodies. As the story goes, great misfortune comes to those who go near her or hear her frightening cries.
La Lorena. Updating
It's
the
the
lore.
stupidest things bought by billionaires. Saudi Prince Waleed purchased a Mercedes completely made out of diamonds. It reportedly costs $48 million, and rumors have said that he charges people $1,000 to just touch it. Mukesh Ambani decided he wanted a personal skyscraper, so spent $2 billion constructing one. He has hired more than 600 people just to take care of the building's upkeep. Sheikh Ahmed wanted to make sure everyone knew this was his private island. That's why he decided to etch his name so large that it could be seen from space. Crazy things happen.
Man, when people have too much money like that, man, that's the definition of too much money. A freaking all diamond BMW. Does that thing even drive? Like, what's the point? And $1,000 just to touch it? Hell no. And have your own personal skyscraper. That's the one that freaking is the most, man, where he initiated and put his name's initials in the country. In the island, bro. That's the definition of too much money, man. That's actually really wild to think about, man.
Happening in the world right now.
What would you do if you had that much money?
In Washington, D.C. this summer melted off the head of a wax replica of Abraham Lincoln. The state of Vermont paid this man $175,000 after arresting him for flipping off the state trooper. Ron DeSantis signed a bill making it legal to end the lives of crack bears in self-defense. DeSantis also signed a bill in Florida that makes it illegal to intentionally release balloons. NASA ran an experiment that even if we had 14 years in advance to stop an asteroid, we wouldn't be able to do it. A man wrongly identified his wife in an autopsy, had her cremated, and then found out that she was alive. A naked bike ride was organized in San Antonio and no one showed up. Justin Timberlake and Tiger Woods are opening a sports bar together. A French cyclist was fined after stopping to kiss his wife. A woman is suing the company that she's worked for 20 years for having no work. It was recently found that Americans are taking less vacation than every other country.
This is how healthy
Trying to
your
get that
eyes
bag.
actually are. I'm about to test you to tell you how healthy your eyes actually are.
Okay.
All you have to do is pick one out of the 10 colors that...
Damn it. The one that stood out to me was 7, man, because that was the bright color blue. I think I got some healthy eyes, those seekers.
Which animal is most likely to have you knocking on heaven's door depends on your state. And this is part 2, by the way, because I missed a lot of states. Florida, you've got mosquitoes who want to send you straight to God. In Illinois, zombie coyotes are not going to let you finish your bucket list. In Wisconsin, you've got deer, and I also made up a little rhyme for you guys. But you'll always remember to stay the feck away from deer. If you see a deer, grab a beer because your end is almost near. Missouri, you've got the slithery serpents from hell, venomous snakes. Vermont, not a fucking clue. And I looked it up, even the CDC don't know what y'all chilling with over there. Next up, South Carolina. Apparently this is Satan's country home because all it says for this state is large mammals. Apparently you all got elk, coyotes, badgers, deer, porcupines, and bison all ready to test your life insurance. New York, you're up next. And man's best friend, now man's fatal foe isn't just a cool title for a movie. Finally, Tennessee, you've got brown recluse spiders. Apparently one bite from these isn't necessarily fatal. Multiple bites will send you straight to the gulag, so Tennessee, ciao! If I missed your state in this one of the last, let me know. Send this to anyone you know in any of these states so that they know to stay safe. All with me now. Elon!
What state are you guys in, man? I want to know, man, because I've been seeing, I know we have seekers all around, so. And was y'all state mentioned on that list, man, of those, I guess, animals that try to send you to the afterlife, bro?
Have you ever thought about why mobile gaming sucks? First, most games are free, but you have to watch an ad every 5 seconds of playing the game, which completely ruins it. Second, most free games require in-app purchases to actually get anything done within the game. And third, they all require you to be on Wi-Fi or your cellular data, so you can't even play them everywhere. That's why I want to introduce Aquarium Crush. This game is 100% free with no ads or in-app purchases, and you can play without Wi-Fi or cellular data. I really don't know how they do it, but the goal of the game is to get your fish as big as you possibly can without getting eaten. And trust me, it's not as easy as it looks.
Damn.
These puzzles are unlike any I've seen in other games and is genuinely the perfect way to kill some time. So if you want a game that gives you everything it promises, go to my page and download it right here. That radiation.
Alright.
Amazing things you have never seen before. This man was walking in his yard and the ground started moving. This isn't fried chicken, it's actually a crystal. This is what the top of Mount Everest looks like. It was so cold that this person's food froze midair.
What?
This is what a cat's tongue looks like under a microscope. It looks like a bunch of smaller tongues. And I bet you've never seen a brick road machine. I always thought people did it.
These are things that over time got too expensive. Number 1 is fast food. I remember when a McChicken was just $1. Number 2, streaming services. A, there's too many, and B, they're getting too pricey. Airbnb, it's probably cheaper these days to get a hotel room. Number 4, snacks. An entire bag of chips is like $6. Number 5, concerts. It's actually insane how much ticket prices have gone up. Number 6, fixing things. Like if your toaster breaks, it's probably cheaper to buy a new one. Number 7, haircuts. I know mine don't look good, but this was $50. Number 8, coffee. It is not uncommon to spend $80 a week. Number 9, theme parks or fairs. You're gonna spend $200. Number 10, restaurants. Aside from tipping 20%, this is still a lot more than it used to be. Number 11, buying a new car. Back in the day, it was way different. Number 12, going to the movies. Tickets ain't bad, but a soda and popcorn, $15. Number 14, going to any professional sports game. Might as well stay home. And lastly, boxed cereal. It might sound absurd, but $8 for Cocoa Puffs is crazy.
Facts that will mess with your perception of time.
He's spitting, bro.
Mean Girls is more of a classic movie today than The Breakfast Club was when Mean Girls was originally released. Rebecca Black has doubled in age since Friday was released in 2011. This is what AI video looked like just 1 year ago. And this is what AI video looks like now. Clint Eastwood's parents would not have been able to celebrate the birth of their son with a can of beer. That's because Clint Eastwood was born in 1930 and canned beer wasn't even a thing until 1935. This is Nancy Pelosi attending JFK's inauguration in 1961 as a 20-year-old. We know of bowhead whales that have lived for more than 200 years. So any bowheads that managed to live through the golden age of American whaling in the 19th century could still be swimming in the ocean today. When novels became popular in the 1700s, the media thought that young people were reading too much. They were calling it the reading rage, the reading fever, and the reading mania. The oldest currently working train engine in the world was built when slavery was still legal in the United States.
Here's how to actually lucid dream. Lucid dreaming is when you become aware that you're in a dream, and this means you can now control everything. It's very fun. So here's the technique called MILD. It stands for Mnemonic Induction to Lucid Dreaming. It's the method that works for me. As you are falling asleep, repeat the phrase in your head, I will control my dream. I will control my dream. I will control my dream. By repeating this mantra, you're encouraging your brain to be aware when you begin dreaming, and therefore, you should lucid dream.
Hey man, to be able to control your dreams, that's actually next level, man. I remember sometimes, man, I just throughout the day, I'm like, did I dream that, bro? And it seems like it was so real, but to be actually to control your dreams, man, like control your actions and where the dream goes, I'm definitely gonna have to try that Seekers, man. Lucid dreaming. Have any of you guys tried that before? If you do, I would love to hear your stories. That's an edit.
These are some truly unsettling facts, and I found all these on Reddit. Number 1, the world's loneliest whale. There's a whale that resides deep in the ocean that has been singing a song for years, but no other whales can understand it. The reason is because this whale's voice is so deep that it's too low for any other whale to hear. And he's been calling out trying to find a mate or a family member for years now, but nobody can hear him or find him. So he's been swimming deep in the ocean by himself for so long. And it's because of this that scientists have called him the world's loneliest whale. Number 2, Abraham Lincoln. Now, we all know Abraham Lincoln. He was like our 15th or 16th president or something like that, had a crazy beard, and he was assassinated. But this is a very unsettling fact about him. The 3 days leading up to the fateful night where Abraham Lincoln would be assassinated, Lincoln had had nightmares detailing his assassination. And we know this because his bodyguard, who was named Crook, actually detailed this entire thing. Lincoln had told Crook about all these nightmares, and Crook begged him not to go to the theater. And all that Lincoln said in return was, "Goodbye, Crook." And he left. And the reason why this was weird was because Crook said every single time that Abe had left, he would always say good night, not goodbye. But he could tell that Abe knew this would be the last time they saw each other. And finally, emergency broadcast. Now, we all know what an emergency broadcast is, but in the event of the world ending, CNN has a pre-recorded emergency broadcast from the 1990s that would kind of be like a farewell to everyone. They have this ready to play just in case that fateful day comes, and that to me is truly horrifying, which is why it's perfect for today's video.
Urban legends from around the world. La Ciguapa, located in the Dominican Republic. Here's the story. Said to be a hypnotic mythical creature in the form of a woman. Said to have long hair that covers her whole body, and the most interesting part is that she has backwards feet. Said to dwell in forests in the Highland Mountains. She lures unsuspecting men in, and they are never seen again. The first claim of this creature actually dates back all the way to 1866. Which country is next?
Facts about money that will blow your
story.
mind. You are more likely to die in a car accident on your way to buy a lottery ticket than you are winning the lottery. LeBron James will make about 3 times more money with his NBA salary than all 151 WNBA players combined. The mascot for the Denver Nuggets basketball team will also make about 3 times more money than the highest paid WNBA player. George Clooney once gave 14 of his closest friends $1 million as a surprise gift with one condition. They all had to take it or none of them got it. If you started with 1 penny and doubled your money every single day, it would take you less than 28 days to become a millionaire. A lawyer made a deal with a 90-year-old woman that said if he paid her rent every single month, he would keep the apartment after she died. He died 1 year before she did, over 30 years later. The lawyer ended up paying $180,000 for an apartment that he never lived in. Follow for more.
That was the deal of a lifetime.
The most terrifying prisoners of all time. Known as one of Australia's most dangerous and violent female prisoners, this is Rebecca Butterfield. She was initially sent to Silverwater Prison for stabbing her neighbor, and that is where things got worse. Way worse. She has cut her own throat, bashed her head against a wall 105 times, and stabbed her friend, who was also a fellow inmate, 33 times with a carving knife. The prison murder landed her another 12 years, and another 5 was added on as she was deemed too dangerous for society.
During one violent episode, she said, "If I get out, I will kill again." Butterfield has attacked prison nurses and doctors, throwing boiling tea and water on guards and other inmates, and even lunged towards guards, saying she was trying to take their guns. As of January 2021, she is to remain behind bars until 2023.
Menace to society, like I said, some
This is
people
the how long
too
you survive
dangerous.
in the wild vision test. Oh, and spoiler alert, we haven't got a chance. Okay, here's the first one. I'm going to say this one's pretty easy. And let me just say, every single animal that are in all of these photos could easily subtract you from the equation that is life if they wanted to, and then proceed to sleep like a baby afterwards. Okay, next up, I'd say this one's pretty average. This one did drive me fucking insane, and we're only on the second one, so good luck. Don't worry if you can't see it, because I can assure you, it sees you. The worst part is once you see it and know exactly what animal it is, then you can pretty much guarantee that there are more around. Since I couldn't see this one, I would not survive in the wild, I'd get clapped. Okay, next up, I'm going to put this one in the hard category. I mean, I'll give you a clue since we're looking at the ground, you probably know we're looking for something small. But still not small enough that it couldn't send you to the next realm before you have a chance to say, oh, there it is. Okay, this one's difficult and I am sorry for this one. And if you don't want to be put on the front of a newspaper, you really need to find it. However, finding it will not make it any better because you'll realize it's looking directly into your soul. Because these animals typically like to stare at what they want to take for themselves. And finally, we have Insane, and this is just cruel. And I'm not trolling for views, it's there. Now send this video to a friend to see how many they could see.
Seekers, could you guys see any of those animals you was talking about?
It features countries in every continent. North America, United States. Europe, Liechtenstein. Asia, Qatar. Oceania, Australia. South America, Chile. Africa, Nigeria.
That doesn't shock me at all. The top countries, man. Maybe except for Chile. I wasn't expecting that one.
You just watched Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter. You need to watch this documentary next. It's very similar. In 1987, 15-year-old Jennifer Pandos went missing from her own bedroom. Since parents is going to relentlessly attempt to get this case closed. This documentary is really good, and if you liked Into the Fire, you're going to love this one. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Urban legends from every state. The legend of Charlie No Face, located in various parts of Pennsylvania. Here's the story. Also known as the Green Man, Charlie No Face was a real person. His name is Raymond Robinson, and he has quite a tragic tale. The legend was told as a man with no face would stalk people at night. The real story is when he was 8 years old, he was climbing up an electrical pole and got shocked, surviving but terribly burning his face and arms. He actually walked at night to avoid being ridiculed or scaring people. People were assholes. And as far as people calling him the Green Man, some say that it was just his clothes reflecting the lights off the cars. People who knew him said he was a hell of a nice guy, just a man forced into isolation by society.
That's so sad, man. Had a travel all night just so he wouldn't
This
scare
Las
anybody.
Vegas man allegedly beat a customer severely for breaking the nacho cheese machine, because people will fight over anything these days. To top this all off, this dude works at the gas station too. His name is Myron Bully. He will now be charged for attempted murder. This happened early in the morning on September 3rd, about 2 weeks ago. The victim was bleeding from all over his face, and the police had to transport him to a hospital to get treated for skull fractures. He also had multiple brain bleeds on top of that, so he definitely got beat pretty severely here. There was a witness here who was pumping gas and asked Myron, because Myron is an attendant, if he was going to call 911 for the victim. He responded by saying, "I'm not going to call 911 from him, I hope he learned his lesson." The victim got nachos, and apparently Myron thought he was putting too much cheese on it, and then the machine malfunctioned, then he kicked him out of the store. The guy tried to come back for his nachos, and Myron greeted him with a baseball bat. He was swinging at the victim pretty hard. Witnesses said he couldn't get up for several minutes. Myron said if I hit him hard, his brains would have been smashed. So Myron has absolutely no remorse for this. His bail is set at $10,000. I'm not sure what kind of sentence he's going to get. My guess is like 10 to 15 years. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.
Seriously, if you don't...
People will literally fight over the most dumbest things, man. Really over some nacho cheese. Because he was pouring too much, that justified their actions. I'm telling you, man, the world... People just have to be nicer to each other, man. That doesn't make no sense. That was some damn nacho cheese, really.
You know what's going on over in America right now, you need to watch this video. So the other day, of course, there was the presidential debate, and of course there was one major point that everybody's talking about now. Social media going crazy with already this sound being made, and hundreds, thousands of people making videos. But it's been like 2 days and there's already 26,500 videos.
Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dog, they're eating the cats.
This all came from this one video that this guy just remixed it and people got nuts. Meanwhile though, in Ohio, this happened yesterday. Like, what the hell? The cops found this 27-year-old woman with blood and fur around her mouth, leaning and kneeling over a deceased cat, which she reportedly had eaten. Seriously, what's going on? What is going on? Make sure that follow button and I'll keep you updated.
I'm going to be talking about some of the evidence that proves that
Unsee.
Rebecca was most likely murdered. When Adam called police, he referred to Rebecca as the girl he found hung. He knew Rebecca. He could have said my brother's girlfriend. I don't know, a lot of people thought that was really weird. The way that Rebecca's legs and hands were tied together was very difficult to do on her own. The knots used were very similar to those used mainly in boating, which was something that Adam did for a living. There was also this very creepy message found on Rebecca's door, and it said, "She saved him, can you save her?" And this was interpreted differently by everyone. A neighbor came forward and told investigators that she heard screams and a woman yell for help the night before Rebecca was found hung. But investigators told her that those screams did not come from the mansion. Adam was a person of interest and he took a lie detector test, which he did not pass nor fail. Many people also believe that Dina might have had something to do with Rebecca's murder because of her son passing away when Rebecca was supposed to be looking after him. A second autopsy was demanded by Rebecca's family, and they found that Rebecca's neck injuries is not exclusive to just hanging, but also strangulation. The autopsy also showed that Rebecca had fractures to her left arm, multiple bruises, and abrasions. The family attorney also said that it's very unlikely for a woman to commit suicide naked. As you can see here, there was a boot print on the balcony, but investigators said that it was just from a police officer investigating the scene. But after forensic analysis, they concluded that it did not match the police officer's boot. So whose print was that? Now get this, when investigators confiscated Adam's phone, they found Google searches that said bondage anime and sexy Asian girls. If you're into that stuff, cool, good for you, I'm not judging, but the timing just seems very convenient. Investigators confirmed that this was a suicide and closed the case, but in 2018, Rebecca's family filed a civil lawsuit against Adam and won more than $5 million in damages. But he was never really held accountable for her murder and he never faced criminal charges. Rebecca's family has consistently fought for justice, but it's been really difficult. This case has so much evidence and there's so much detail to it, but what do you guys think happened to Rebecca?
Sounds like all the evidence was there. The justice system, man, sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's like that. That's an edit. Call them out, see, because if you guys see any edits, man, call them out, man, because I might miss some as well.
Best friends killed an abusive husband together. Marianne and Wanda were the best of friends, like, all through their high school days. They were both members of the 4-H club, both active in the FFA, and after graduation, Marianne went out and she was looking for a bright new world, and Wanda looked all around her hometown and all she found was Earl. And y'all, it wasn't 2 weeks after she got married that Wanda started getting abused. She started wearing dark sunglasses, long sleeve blouses, makeup to cover her bruises. But she finally got the nerve to file for divorce and she let the law take it from there. But Earl walked right through that restraining order and put her in intensive care. And right away, Marianne flew in from Atlanta on a red-eye midnight flight and she held Wanda's hand and they worked out a plan, and it didn't take them long to decide that Earl had to die. And y'all, they killed Earl together. They were mocking him and laughing at him as he was dying. They were saying things like, "What? What's wrong with those black-eyed peas? They tasted all right to me." "Oh, what's the matter? You feeling weak? Why don't you lay down and sleep, Earl? Oh, ain't it dark, all wrapped up in that tarp?" It was sadistic, it was twisted, and they took a lot of pleasure in bringing an end to Earl. And now the cops came by to bring Earl in. They searched their house high and low. They tipped their hats and they said, "Thank you, ladies. If you hear from him, let us know, okay?" But the weeks went by, spring turned to summer, summer turned into fall, and turns out Earl was a missing person that nobody missed at all. So girls bought some land and a roadside stand out there on Highway 109, and they sell Tennessee ham, strawberry jam, and they don't lose any sleep at night because Earl had to die. Matter of fact, they held onto his body for a while and they stuffed him in the trunk. They actually took his body to the lake. They had a picnic lunch. I mean, what they did to this guy was absolutely outrageous, but truth is, Earl had to die. Y'all, I hope you enjoyed the story today. My name is Jordan Rayner. I'm a recording artist trying to get a record deal. Hit follow, help me get to 1 million. And also, I've got a brand new EP called Revolver that just dropped on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. It's freaking amazing. Please go give it a spin. Cheers. Goodbye.
Did they ever
Boys, I
get
know
caught?
doing these cannot be easy, but that's why.
This is one of the worst pedophiles in world history, and today he's a free man. Meet Christopher Paul Neal, or Mr. Swirl. Christopher was born in Canada, and early on in his life he actually tried to become a priest, but he was denied due to a lack of qualifications. So instead of becoming a priest, Christopher chose to become another P professional, a pedophile. In the early 2000s, international investigators noticed that a number of CP or CSAM photos and videos were being released featuring this swirly face. In the videos, this man was seen violently abusing children. These videos were so violent and disturbing, featuring Mr. Swirl, that authorities' stomachs were turned. It was, according to investigators, some of the most disturbing stuff they had ever seen. Christopher, aka Mr. Swirl, was bold, and he uploaded over 200 images and videos and shared them across the internet. Videos once again depicting him abusing, if you know what I'm saying, children. But eventually, the authorities were able to unswirl his image. They found this image, they posted it online, and eventually he was identified. After being identified, Christopher fled to Thailand, but he was arrested there. Now, eventually, even though Christopher had been identified as one of the worst pedophiles on planet Earth, he was given only 5 years in a Thai jail. He was then released and sent back to Canada, where he was arrested upon coming home. However, after spending a couple days in jail in Canada, he was released. But less than a year later, he was rearrested in Canada after investigators checked in on him and found CP and CSAM on his phone and computer. So it's clear this guy couldn't be stopped. But what sentence did they give this hardcore pedophile who was found with CP and CSAM on his devices? Well, they sentenced him to 3 months. 3 months in prison with probation. After some lengthy court proceedings, he was eventually sentenced to 5 years in Canadian prison, but then for some reason they shortened that to only 15 months. And in March of 2017, Christopher was released back to the public, where he has been ever since. This is a man who victimized at least a dozen young boys on camera. A man who was completely unrepentant for what he had done. A man who was already convicted of crimes like this and then re-downloaded the same materials to his computers. And he only got a couple of years in prison for all of this, and like I said, he is a free man. So if you are in Canada, if you have relatives that live in Canada, tell them to watch out for this guy, because this is true. He is out there right now. It's shocking to me every time I do stories about this stuff. I do not understand why these pedophiles do not get more of a lengthy prison sentence. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. You can get a much higher sentence for a drug-related offense versus what this guy did, which I think is just the scummiest, worst type of crime you could possibly commit.
Episodes in kids' cartoons.
Talk about
in an episode of Care Bears, the bears and their cousins find themselves in a place called Drab City, where color has vanished and people who live there don't seem to care about anything. This was caused by a mysterious force that took everyone's color and feelings away. And slowly, it started going after the bears, and they eventually gave in until help arrived. The whole episode was about mental health, and it came off as way too heavy for a kid's show. Next, in The Fairy Godparents, Timmy gets upset for not being appreciated for the good deeds he's done and wishes he was never born. He's then transported to an alternate universe where it shows that everyone's lives are better without it. And to add insult to injury, Timmy gets sent to what's basically the pits of hell. And when Timmy gets a hold of Jorgen's wand, he takes time to think if wishing himself to exist is worth making everyone's lives miserable. It's a pretty dark and messed up plot. And lastly, this Thomas and Friends episode starts as per usual, with Thomas giving a helping hand. Then, it's not long after that a character named Stepney ends up getting lost in a scrapyard, getting lost in a fog and almost getting scrapped in the process. This was meant to warn kids to be careful while on their journeys, or you may not live to tell your story.
Ghost stories from...
Hey man, that's freaking crazy, bro. The messaging, man, in these kid shows, man, it's like when you think about it, when you're a kid, you're just so oblivious to it, but there's real life messages in all pieces of media, man. You just gotta be able to see it. Because I sure wasn't picking up on it as a kid.
From around the world. This is hands down my most requested video. Mexico, La Llorona. Once there was a woman named Maria who married a rich man and had 2 children. But eventually her marriage hit a rough patch and her husband started spending less and less time with her and the kids. Until finally Maria caught him cheating. Absolutely enraged at this, she ends up drowning her 2 children.
She immediately regrets it and tried to save them, but it was too late. Then she stopped eating and grew thinner and thinner until she resembled a skeleton. Eventually, she finally passed away by the same river that she drowned her children, still crying and mourning over them. So after she died, she went to heaven but was denied entry. She was banished to purgatory on earth until she could find her lost sons. And that's how she became La Llorona, which also translates to the weeping woman. She floats over bodies of water in a long white funeral gown. She also kidnaps children and attacks cheating husbands.
Damn. Okay. I'm probably gonna have to call edit on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna call it edit. What do you guys think?
The darkest conspiracy theories. The Teletubbies theory. The theory says that the show is inspired by historic events
Really?
that happened in a Bulgarian mental facility. Each Teletubby is inspired by a kid that was experimented on. Lola was based on a child who had facial disfigurement and had to smile all the time. And ended up lying in his own puke. And Poe was based on a child who fell into fire, which is recognizable why his color is red.
Here's some conspiracy theories
You
that
believe
I
that?
think have passed the level of theory and are true. Women's clothing is designed with little to no pockets for the sole purpose of selling more purses. High-end art is just a scheme to launder money and avoid taxes. Like this one here, sold for $43 million. This one sold for $46 million. This one was $84 million. Someone actually paid $87 million for this. This has got to contribute to inflation in some way.
Has
Things
to.
that happen in the entertainment industry, like with movies, TV shows, video games, are done on purpose to gauge interest and get opinions before an official announcement. That little bit of dust that comes off the end of tissues when you pull them out of the box is specifically designed to get you to sneeze, that way you need more tissues. Government orchestrates their own conspiracy theories to get us distracted from actual problems.
Hey man, she was hitting that head on the nail, bro. Especially like I said, how some of those theories, how they can be true. I'm about to say, you guys think, especially the last one, when she said how sometimes the government they be trying to put theories out there, trying to distract us from the bigger truth. That's why I tapped in with this, or tuned into this type of content, man, so I can learn, so I can expand my mind. I didn't want to be distracted no more. Where's this guy?
Some trees can actually grow inside of your lungs. In Russia, doctors performed surgery on a man named Artyom Sidorkin, suspecting that he had a cancerous tumor in his lungs. Instead of a tumor, though, they found a 5-centimeter fir tree branch inside of his lung.
What?
Doctors believe that Sidorkin accidentally swallowed a fir tree bud, which later grew into a branch. The probability of dying on your birthday is higher than any other day. There is actually a 14% chance of dying on your birthday than any other day. This is a shocking phenomenon called the birthday effect, which may be due to extra stress, drinking more, or people engaging in risky behaviors on their birthdays. A devil's chair exists in many cemeteries. In various cemeteries around the world, there are stone chairs called devil's chairs. These chairs were often used by mourners to sit and grieve, but legends and superstitions have given them a sinister reputation. Some stories claim that if you sit in one at midnight, the devil himself will appear. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York City than you are to be bitten by a shark. There could be someone secretly living in your wall or attic without you even knowing it. It's called frogging, and people say that it's becoming more and more common. So if you hear strange noises, notice things missing or moved, or your box of Frosted Flakes cereal is all of a sudden empty, there could be a frogger living in your home.
Here's what some of the most
I didn't even know that was an actual term, but froggers, that's actually one of my worst fears ever, man. That's like imagine somebody in your own space and you have no idea. You gotta pay attention, man. And that fir tree going inside that person, I would have said that's impossible, man, but we just saw it. Well, you know.
Most famous monsters actually are the chupacabra. The goat-griefing livestock leech believed to be first seen in Puerto Rico was more than likely a dog with a severe case of mange, and that's when mites burrow into the skin and basically cause parasitic alopecia. Bigfoot, different animals, same beast, or whatever it was Kobe said. Anyway, it was probably a mangy bear. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. What the hell mange does? Coke Bear done graduated to meth?
Ooh.
I don't mean numbers. The Loch Ness Monster. There have been many theories, but what's most likely was probably just an escaped circus elephant with trunks out like Dragon Ball. For centuries, there have been stories of killer Cyclops, a one-eyed op to humanity. Whole time, someone probably just found an expired elephant skull in an Olympic long jump to a conclusion. And last, almost every sea monster story you've ever heard was probably just some whale freeing his willy. That's exactly what you think it is, the more you know.
Here's how Area 51 became the center for alien conspiracy theories. In 1989, a man named Bob Lazar claimed that he had worked at a facility near Area 51 known as S4. According to Lazar, the facility was being used to reverse engineer alien technology recovered from crashed UFOs. Lazar's claims were highly controversial, and many people dismissed him as a hoaxer. However, his story only served to fuel the already existing rumors of alien activity at Area 51. Since then, countless conspiracy theories have emerged about what's really going on at Area 51. Some people believe that the government is hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life, while others think that the base is being used to develop top-secret weapons and technology.
What do you guys think?
That's what Mordecai said. Take that back, Rigby. They started fighting, and it didn't take long for them to bump into a microwave which took them up into space. And while in space, the argument still continued. You're over here turning on me, Mordecai, but I'm your bro. I'm just looking out for you. That's what Mordecai said. I don't care. I've been trying to get with Margaret for years, and yet every time she turns me down. And next thing you know, Mordecai pushes Rigby off, killing Rigby. That's when Mordecai says, wait, no! But the damage was already done, and Rigby's funeral went down the following week. After that day, Mordecai got so depressed and ended up killing himself later that day by jumping off a cliff. Mordecai killed his best friend, and he disintegrated into the abyss, all because he was a simp.
He couldn't take that L, bro. It drove him insane. What the hell? I can't believe that freaking aired. That was on like Cartoon Network too. I'm gonna have to check. We're gonna have to review that episode, man. See if it's legit.
Who eat humans. Komodo dragon. Piranhas. Crocodiles. Jaguars. African driver ant.
African driver ants eat humans?
Bear. Lion. Catfish.
Catfish eat humans now? What the hell?
Tiger. Cheetah. Hyenas. Shark. Dog.
Dogs too? What the hell?
Polar bear.
This is part 2 of the crime scene
That
photos
shocked
that were
me.
leaked from the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, revolving around the murder of her mom, Dee Dee. This is another photo that was taken inside the house. You can see that the kitchen is absolutely trashed. This is inside their living room. Again, literally trash everywhere. This next one, please, if you're squeamish, look away. Okay, I cropped the photo, but basically her mom was found in this pink bed sheet. I'm covering a lot of, she was found laying on her stomach with stab wounds all over her body and a huge gash mark on her neck. Again, those photos are literally online where you see everything. I cropped this one again, but this is the crime scene bed. This half, it was just all blood and a wrapped body. I know a lot of you are really curious and you want to see these photos, but they are very dark and gruesome. Even photos of Dee Dee nude from the waist down. It was a very dark and gruesome murder.
Cursed games you should never play. Part 24.
Dark case.
Blue baby, baby blue. Begin at night. Go into a bathroom and turn off all the lights. Then lock the door behind you and face the mirror. As you're looking into the mirror, position your arms as though you're cradling a baby. While doing this, chant the phrase blue baby, baby blue 13 times. As you do this, you'll feel the weight in your arms begin to grow. And at some point, you'll start to feel scratching on your arms. Once you feel the scratching, immediately drop the baby in the toilet, flush it, unlock the door, and leave. If you're alive, you won. But there are two possible losing conditions. The lesser of two being the scratching in your arms becoming unbearable, or the second one being a woman appearing in the mirror. She will demand her baby back and probably kill you.
I never play those type of
These are
games.
scary cartoon
Never.
truths that would terrify you. Part 12. Okay, so Talking Angela started as a mobile phone app for a lot of children. Angela is a white cat with blue eyes who has conversations with you and could answer any question you ask. But recently, Talking Angela turned into an app to spy on young children. It is said the app was taken over by a creepy man or a very creepy group. It's said that if you're over 18, nothing happens. But if you're younger than that, the cat will then start asking you very weird questions. Like,
What?
where do you live? What is your name? And what are your parents' names? The creepy man or group are able to take pictures of you through your own phone. Also, if you zoom in on Angela's eye, you can see a man watching you. And if that's not scary enough, a young boy named Eli went missing shortly after downloading the app. And he was never found.
Hey man, that's how you gotta freaking. You have to know what type of apps you download, man. Especially when it comes to these kids' apps, because they just use as a cover for something else, man. Like a simple kids app, bro. You think talking to a cat, you wouldn't think nothing. You wouldn't think nothing of it. It's like it's the perfect cover, seekers. We learning out here. Got it. Call it like I see it.
Every time I go to chase it, it runs. I don't think it's a good idea I chase it anymore. You might think I'm playing with him. Every time. I see him, but I'm not gonna act like I see him. I see him right there ducking. Oh, what the hell is wrong with his head?
I see that too.
Why does he look like that? I'm gonna try to zoom. Oh my god, why does he look like that?
All of the Rugrats are
Oh.
a part of Angelica's imagination. They aren't real. None of them. Chucky died in the same accident that his mom died. And that's why his dad is always so nervous and freaking out, because he has to deal with it. What about Tommy? Well, Tommy was a stillborn. And that's why Stu goes down into the basement late at night, making toys for the son he wish he had. That's why he's always depressed.
What are you doing?
Making chocolate pudding
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Why on earth are you making chocolate pudding?
because I've lost control of my life.
And the twins ended up being a miscarriage. It was early in the pregnancy, so Angelica didn't know if it was going to be a boy or a girl, so she just imagined both. What about Susie? Susie is real and going along with all of Angelica's crazy imaginations because it's her only friend. She tries to make her happy. But the one baby that is real is Dill. Dill goes against Angelica's crazy imagination and doesn't do what she expects. And that's why Angelica freaks out on Dill all the time and gets so upset.
Rugrats, man, they weren't real the whole time? Show that there to a couple of people, their minds gonna be blown. The hell? The hell?
The reason I had to move out of my flat.
Okay.
I was home alone.
The hell is that? It's staring at her, and the dogs can see it too. It's like the dog can sense it. If you know that ain't your mom, don't open it up. How the hell they unlock the door?
Then what's your name then?
Yeah, what the hell? She was right now opening up that door. That was a creepy one. For
This
sure.
teenager became concerned for her ex and tried to help him. Little did she know she was about to be brutally killed. Lauren Astley was 18 years old from Wayland, Massachusetts. She began dating Nathaniel Fujita when the pair were in high school together. Nathaniel was a popular football player. The pair were described as being quite on and off. On the 1st of April 2011, she decided to end the relationship with Nathaniel. However, it did not go down very well at all, and his friends reported that he became depressed and withdrawn. He stopped doing things he used to enjoy doing, and he just didn't seem to care about life anymore. In summer 2011, the pair attended the same graduation party. It was reported that at the party, Nathaniel got quite jealous of when Lauren was talking to other boys. Nathaniel got quite drunk, and Lauren's mum was actually at the party, and Lauren ran up to her crying. She said that Nathaniel wouldn't leave her alone and was harassing her. Now, Nathaniel got so angry at this party that he punched the tent that everybody was in and caused it to collapse.
Damn.
He was then asked to leave the party. It was reported that Nathaniel started drinking quite heavily and becoming even more depressed. His mum actually got so worried about him that she reached out to Lauren. She asked Lauren if she could help and maybe speak to him, and Lauren agreed because she was concerned. Lauren agreed to chat to him and meet him at his house on the 3rd of July 2011. Tragically, she had no idea she would not leave the house alive. She texted him stating "here" and entered the house at approximately 7:05 p.m. Nathaniel lured her into the garage, slit her throat and strangled her with a bungee cord. He then drove her car to Town Beach and disposed of the keys down a drain. After running home, he put her body in his car and dumped her in a secluded area nearby. Obviously, Lauren's family got really concerned when she didn't get home. Nathaniel, as obviously the last person she was meeting up with, was reported as a suspect. Police found bloodstains in his garage and a big bag full of clothes soaked in blood. Lauren's body was found not long after. Nathaniel's defense in court stated that he was suffering a massive depressive episode and therefore should not be held criminally responsible.
Really?
However, luckily he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. People are calling this case the Incest House of Horrors. This case comes with just about the biggest trigger warning for the most horrific things you could hear. It was October 2023 in the quiet Polish village called Koniki. An arrest was about to happen which would shake the small community. The true horrors of what had been going on under everyone's noses were absolutely chilling. Peter Girasik was 54 years old. He and his wife Hannah had had a staggering 12 children together. Hannah had passed away 15 years prior, leaving Peter to look after the children on his own. Now, the house that he lived in was far from ideal for such a huge family. Locals were also often concerned about hearing cries and screaming from inside the home. They knew Peter had a close relationship with his 20-year-old daughter, Paulina, but they had no idea just how disturbing things were getting inside the home. That was until local workers at a cake shop nearby tipped off social services. They had serious concerns about what was going on in the property, and they were right to be worried. When officers arrived at the home, they could smell something absolutely potent. Upon closer inspection of the property, they found decomposing dead babies in the basement. 2 of the tiny bodies were wrapped in plastic bags and one was just lying on the floor. Now, at the time of the discovery, Peter wasn't actually living in this house with all 12 of his children. Some had escaped. He was living in the house with his daughter Paulina and his disabled son Damien. It would later be revealed that sometimes Damien was seen sat outside the house crying. He told officers that his dad would have S with his sister, so the dad's daughter, and regularly chase Damien out the house and beat him when he wanted to do this. Damien was abused and was given little more than cold rice to live off. Horrifically, police discovered that the deceased babies in the basement were actually the product of incest. The 3 babies found in the cellar were believed to have been killed just after they were born. Frustratingly, Peter had actually been on the radar of police. He'd been investigated 5 times over allegations of incest. He was arrested finally by police, and his daughter Paulina was also arrested. Thankfully, many of Peter's children had managed to flee, and his one daughter Cassia referred to him as a monster. He's now facing charges of murder.
Got some Disney secrets.
Disney secrets that you didn't know. If you look close, you can see that most scenes from different Disney movies are actually very similar. And that's because drawings were actually made by hand. And the animators only make a few changes to make a new scene. And since Walt Disney wanted to spend most of his time at Disneyland, he actually built a secret apartment on the 2nd floor of the fire station, which is located on the famous avenue that leads you to the park's Central Plaza. And the name of the wizard in Fantasia is actually Yenzin, which is actually the word Disney in reverse. And Blue from Monsters, Inc.'s real name is actually Mary, and that's because the person who plays her is called Mary Gibbs.
Scary facts that will make your skin crawl. BT.6. Phobias are based on how we died in our past life. Maybe that's why we're afraid to do things we never tried, because it's how we died. Experts said that dark areas, such as abandoned houses and vacant rooms, are the possible places where you can feel the presence of ghosts. So if you're alone right now while reading this post, there is a chance that someone is watching you. If you're awake at night without a reason, then it means that you are awake in someone else's dreams.
That phobia thing. Interesting.
The first one is about finding Nemo. Did you know that Nemo actually translates to nothing or nobody in Latin? And some people think that that's just what he was. He was nothing. After the traumatic attack on his family, Marlin created a fictional son in his mind in order to cope with the loss. So finding Nemo was really just him going through the stages of grief. And that's also why he's so overprotective. And the next one gets even darker. It's about cars.
Whoa.
When you were watching this, you might have noticed that there are no humans anywhere. But humans had to have been there at some point to build the cars, change the motors, and all that kind of stuff. So what happened to them? The theory is that in the future, technological advancements made it possible for cars to think on their own. Which I feel like at this point is not that far of a stretch, you know what I mean? But they didn't want to be controlled by humans anymore. So they ran over all the humans one by one until they took over the world.
Websites you should...
I didn't even think about that with the Cars movie theory, man. Because I remember as a kid, I've been like, what? Where the humans at? That I think about it, that theory could actually be true. Our childhood's bad. Get exposed.
Probably remember SAAI.ai. This website allows you to generate custom articles from the click of a button. Once you're on the website, there are 3 separate options. First, input what topic you want to talk about. The second one is you want to select what type of essay you're willing to write. You can choose from all of these options. Third, select how many words you want it to actually be. Then finally, you can select which language you want to do. Here's a tip. If you click the undetectable mode, it will make it look like an actual human wrote it, giving you a 0% AI score. Which means teachers or people you're sending this to will think you're the one who actually wrote it, and we can use GPT-0 to check the results of this, and as you can see, bam, here they are.
Life hack.
Good luck with this, and please don't snitch.
Morbid facts.
You know College Kid's gonna be using that.
In 1987, police responded to Illinois father Russell Dardine's home after he failed to report to work. There they found the dead bodies of his pregnant wife Ruby and their son, who were both victims of a brutal beating. Ruby was beaten so badly that she prematurely went into labor, and even the newborn baby was beaten to death as well. Initially, Keith was the most obvious suspect until his body was found shot dead in a nearby field with his genitals mutilated. Serial killer Tommy Lynn Sells later confessed to the murders but was never formally charged, so the case remains cold. In 1980, John Favera, the neighbor of mafia boss John Gotti, accidentally ran over and killed the mobster's 12-year-old son Frank. Although it was ruled an accident, Favera went missing that same year and was never seen nor heard from again. Former mobster Charles Carneglia later claimed that Favera was abducted, tortured, and slowly dismembered with a chainsaw while he was still alive. His remains were then stuffed inside a barrel filled with concrete and dumped in the ocean.
Man. That's a dark case right there.
Gross habits that are actually good for you.
What?
You probably think burping is rude and disrespectful. Well, that's wrong. Burping actually helps release the air that's trapped inside your lungs. And believe it or not, but if you never burp, you could actually damage your digestive system. Biting your nails might seem nasty at first, but digesting bacteria that's under your nails actually improves your immune system. Studies show that kids who bite their nails are actually less prone to getting sick. Before I tell you the grossest one, I found this app where you can erase anything from your photos, and I mean literally anything. Press the link in my bio, but don't use it for bad. If you shower every day, stop right now. Showering every day could actually damage your skin and your hair. Because when you shower, you remove many useful bacteria. So the next time you skip a few showers, just know you're actually being healthy.
48-year-old.
Man, y'all been seeing that thing. I know y'all been seeing the thing with the celebrities, how they be saying how they be taking some of them. They be saying they don't even be taking showers, or they be showering every other day or something like that. That's like, I don't know about that one, Chief. That one's kind of weird. I ain't gonna say God, it is kind of weird. Oh man, what do you guys think about that one?
David Carpenter from Iowa was recently arrested after accidentally shooting his father in the face after the two were arguing about David's stinky feet. He is now awaiting trial. Here are some recent crimes that happened in August of 2024 that caught my attention. This is 25-year-old David Fogel, who was kicked out of a strip club in Tampa, Florida for, quote, inappropriate behavior. Instead of driving home, he drove his truck into a group of people waiting outside the entrance. He injured multiple and took the life of one. He is now awaiting trial and could receive life in prison. A missing persons cold case from 1974 of 34-year-old Doris Wurst and her daughter 4-year-old Karen was recently closed after police received a call of a car located at the bottom of a canal. Inside were the remains of both Doris and Karen. One speculation as to how the two ended up at the bottom of the canal is from CBSNews.com. Quote, the mother and the girl's father were going through a custody battle at the time the mom and the girl went missing. A source said the mom took off with the 4-year-old girl and threatened to take her life and the life of her daughter if she couldn't have custody. Let me know your thoughts.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory, part 11. The girl wearing the veil is Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped for 9 months by the man on the far right. This photo was taken at a party the kidnapper crashed with Elizabeth, and she was forced to wear this veil at all times to keep her from being recognized in public. While this photo may seem like a bunch of astronauts hanging out at the pool and having a great time, it's actually the crew of Apollo 1. They died inside the capsule on the left, unable to escape the fire. This is Chernobyl Elephant's Foot, a massive radiation from the reactor core meltdown. If you hang around it for too long, it becomes deadly, but not nearly as much as in 1986. It's so deadly that they had to use a set of mirrors to take this photograph. This photo was just taken after LBJ became president following the assassination of John F. Kennedy. In the front, you'll see Jackie Kennedy grieving her husband's death. LBJ turned toward his lifelong friend, Texas Congressman Albert Thomas, who gave him a wink and a smile.
Why did he wink and smile?
For people trying to reduce their screen time, there just might be a solution for you. A trend has been going around where people have started using dumb phones. So basically, instead of carrying around your smartphone, people have now started using these things. So the way that it works is that these phones don't have any social media or apps, and you only have access to your contacts for minimal texting and calling. Companies such as Pumped and Light Phones carry these, and they're sold starting at $300. And the entire purpose of this is to get people to stop scrolling on their phone for hours and hours. But what I find very interesting about this concept is that we as people do not have enough self-control to stop ourselves from scrolling for hours on these social media apps, that we have to go ahead and buy another phone so that we can control our addiction. I remember growing up, we had something very similar to this, but not on purpose. We just didn't have the technology that we have now. I literally had one of these as my first phone in grade 8, and I could only text and call, and I swear I had a limit of about 300 texts that I can send in 1 month. So when I went over that, the bill would be much higher and I would get in shit. These things did not have any apps or social media, so we didn't have the issues that we have now. So what do you guys think about this trend? Would you use it?
Here's the one
I would try that trend.
This lady's phone background is the exact same as the picture on this truck. What are the chances? And the picture on the back of this RV lines up perfectly with the mountains. Now I want to know, did these two guys plan this? Because it spells out Cookie Monster. That cannot be a coincidence. And these two people are wearing opposite colored clothes and opposite color hair. Now they're definitely a perfect match. Now this one's crazy. They're wearing the same jacket, same scarf, and even have the exact same blue hair.
That's like a glitch in the Matrix, man. All those coincidences.
I'm sorry, but what did scientists just create? And how is no one talking about this? Trust me, favorite this video because this is the craziest news of the century. Scientists in Beijing just cloned and brought back dragons. But you might be wondering what I mean by brought back. Well, as it turns out, in early to mid last year, in the mountains of Taimoshan, actual dragon remains were found. Personally, I've waited a long time for this. I am a Targaryen! Using the method of carbon dating, they were approximated to be 15,000 years old. Even the scales were still visible. Now, they quickly acquired the DNA from the dragon remains and proceeded to combine it with the DNA and RNA of lizards that are alive today, such as with the Komodo dragon, with the iguana, and with the bearded dragon. Finally created an actual species of dragon. Now this was all leaked online by one of the researchers, coming out with emails between the researchers and the government, as well as picture proof. However, this is the part you're gonna go, what? In one of the emails, it was pointed out that one of the dragons that had been combined with a Komodo dragon had developed toxic venom. A venom which we have no cure for because, you know, we created the dragon! This is literally one of the most insane things I've ever spoken about on this channel. So send this to literally anyone you know to completely waste their time. Because I'm pretty sure all of these images are AI generated to fool us into thinking dragons existed. I'm pretty sorry.
He's about to say that's cap. Ooh, what the hell? Just like exploded. What the hell? Brave souls. These kids are heroes. Damn, what the hell? A river just burst right there? No way.
Resilience of the human spirit. Was this Reddit user actually abducted by aliens? Reddit user Seeker469 said that as a kid, he was spending the night at his aunt and uncle's house, which was out in the sticks in Tennessee. He was sleeping on the couch and woke up due to a bright light coming through the kitchen window into the living room. He was facing the light, which was white and slightly flickering, for about 10 minutes. Then he turned his head as it was keeping him awake. A few more minutes passed and he turned his head back towards the light and was about to go to sleep when he saw a tall, dark figure standing in front of him. He was frozen and could not move or scream. It approached him, reached out, and began tapping on his forehead with what felt like a nail or something pointed. He said that this went on for another few minutes until he must have fallen or was put to sleep. He woke up the next morning to a quiet house. He went to the bathroom and he had a red spot on his forehead. The skin was slightly broken, but there was no blood.
That cat was legit,
As of right
man.
now, this is definitely in my top 10, absolutely top 5. It is easily one of the most uniquely effective horror movies. This movie is about a woman named Ella who is a stop-motion animator working with her mother. And when the mother becomes hospitalized, it is up to Ella to finish her mother's vision, which Ella doesn't really want to do. And with the help of this random little girl from down the hallway, Ella tries to create a film like no other. However, when the world of reality and the world of stop motion start to really bleed together, it's going to make you wonder for the entire runtime of the movie, what is real? Now, in my opinion, I absolutely loved this movie. I don't know if the director is a genius or accidentally one, because everything in this movie just somehow works, and it works without answering all of your questions. It is a very dreamlike and ethereal type movie, so from the start, you're kind of questioning about everything, which some people are going to love and some people are really not going to like. And it goes without saying, the stop motion animation in this is perfectly creepy. If you've seen any of the previous works of the director, take the weirdness and tone of that and put it into a movie. Now, as far as like what type of scares to be prepared for in this movie, it's a good mix of a lot of different things. A handful of jump scares here and there, but what it's really effective is when the purpose of the movie is just to solely creep you out. But a warning to the squeamish, there are a couple of body horror scenes that can be kind of rough. They're extraordinarily well done. Just keep that in mind towards the end. Now, stop motion has a very limited run in theaters. Hopefully, there's more showings in the future. But the good news is, stop motion will be streaming on Shudder on May 31st. If you've seen this movie, what do you guys think?
Check that out. Stop motion, man. You guys know I'm kind of into scary movies.
Right, here we go again. A time traveler from the year 2671 has warned us about these dates in 2024. So make sure to favorite this video so we can keep track of these dates and see if they were right.
You got it.
Let's hope they aren't. Let's start with January 23rd, 2024. A message is sent from an underground civilization known as the Splitting Worlds. Essentially, we go under the Earth's crust to discover a whole new world. With a new kind of human, but of course, they want war. For fuck's sake! March 7th, 2024. A mirrored Earth is found inside our solar system and is the exact opposite to Earth. Essentially, yes, it is habitable, but the gravity and physics are completely different. On top of that, plants are red and the water's purple. What? Didn't think it could get weirder? You'd be wrong. Let's talk about April 15th, where SpaceX finds out how to make a spaceship travel the speed of light. However, like everything, this comes with its problems. Because apparently this is when we begin to meet alien life forms, who of course want to steal the light speed engine from us. Finally, we have June 29th, 10 days after my birthday. Mark your calendars. Where 197 mysterious statues appear around the world. One in every single country. Apparently, we eventually find out that the statues were placed here to track and scare humanity. Mission succeeded. And they release many terrible things. Now, I did my research. I have no idea what terrible things means. Could you be more cryptic? There are literally so many more, so I think I'm going to do a part 2 tomorrow. And do you think any of these will come true?
No.
Secret safe under her floor.
Because they didn't.
You seriously won't believe what they found inside. One day, Joe and his daughter Rebecca were cleaning out her closet when they discovered a secret safe under the tile. They tried guessing the combination hundreds of times, but they couldn't get it open. Joe even posted on social media asking if anyone knew how to open the safe. And that's when a licensed locksmith saw the serial number and got the combination from the manufacturer. But you won't believe what they found inside. The safe was filled with water, so he grabbed some gloves and pulled out a solid gold coin, and it turns out it's actually worth $180.
These are some of the strangest graves in the world. In a small village located deep into the Philippines, there's a tribe that has a specific ritual. Every member that passes away is placed in a coffin and then nailed against the side of a mountain. The idea is their souls will be closer to God in the afterlife. And there's thousands of these coffins. And George Thomas was decapitated almost 200 years ago from an accident. And at his gravesite, a statue of him actually holds his head up. It's facing towards him so he can watch over his soul.
Whoa. You know, different people have different customs, man. They wanted to be more close, I guess, to their God, so that's what they did.
Unsolved mysteries. This photo shows all the world's mysteries from the most well-known to the darkest of the dark. In this series, we're going to be going through each category until we reach tier 10, which will apparently ruin my life and change the way we all see the world. So I'm pretty terrified. If you haven't watched the previous 3 parts now, if you have, stick around. Make sure to hit that follow button because stuff is going to get crazy. Today we're going to be looking at the Russian microwaves. Now this sounds really boring and weird, but it is so messed up. Basically, the Russian government started putting up these discs which look like satellite. They don't look like they cause any harm. But they eventually admitted they were using microwave technology and radiation, almost as some kind of weapon. But why? Well, these were actually planted near an American embassy. Lots of CIA operatives were and spies. And a lot of these people got extremely ill and had to leave their jobs because of this radiation. And the theory is the Russian government were doing this on purpose, to get these spies out of the country. What do you think? Why else would they be using microwave weapons?
Another cold case.
I ain't gonna lie, I can't. Nah, I believe that one, man. You know, people when they be messing with those waves of radiation, man, could truly get you sick. And he said there, I guess they were like U.S. agents or something, and they were in Russia, so you probably know they wanted to get them out as quickly as possible, but they had to do it in a covert way. It's crazy to think we had that type of level of technology, man.
Case has been solved thanks to advanced DNA testing. Julianne Julie Williams and Laura Lolly Winans were both 24 years old when they went on a camping trip in Shenandoah National Park in Virginia in May 1996. The two had met through a group that organized outdoor adventures, so they were so excited to be going on this trip. They left on May 19th with plans to return on the 28th, and when they did not make it home, their family called the National Park Service to report them missing. Unfortunately, after an extensive search on June 1st, Julie and Lolly were found murdered at their campsite just off the Appalachian Trail. They had been bound and gagged and their throats had been slit, but their case quickly went cold and remained that way for the past 28 years. In 2021, the FBI assigned a new team in Richmond to review the case. The team began retesting evidence and submitted it to a private lab, which was able to pull DNA from several pieces of evidence. And last week, it was announced that the FBI had identified the man responsible for killing Julie and Lolly. DNA retrieved from the evidence was entered into CODIS, and it came back as a match to convicted serial Walter Leo Jackson Sr. Jackson had a lengthy criminal history, including kidnapping and he was also known to visit the Shenandoah National Park. He was most recently sent to prison on multiple charges in 2011, and he ended up dying in prison in March 2018. So unfortunately, he will not have to face justice for what he did to Julie and Lolly. But at least now their families have answers. The FBI has also said that they are continuing to investigate if Jackson can be connected to any other unsolved crimes and are asking for anybody with any information about him to come forward. Both Julie and Lolly loved spending time outdoors and were so excited for their camping trip when their lives were so senselessly taken. Rest in peace, Julie and Lolly.
Rest in
Want
peace,
to hear
man.
a truly eerie case? This is the bizarre disappearance of Brandon Swanson. On May 13th, 2008, Brandon Swanson had just completed his first year at a local technical college where he lived in Marshall, Minnesota. That evening, he and some friends celebrated at a home nearby in Canby. According to friends at the party, Brandon seemed fine when he left the party just after midnight. Brandon was going to make the 30-minute drive back to his parents' home in Marshall. Almost an hour later at 1:15 a.m., Brandon got his car stuck in a ditch. He first called friends for assistance, but they didn't answer, so he called his parents and told them that he was stuck. When asked, he said he wasn't injured, and Brian and Annette, his parents, drove and reached their son's mentioned location to try and find him. But strangely, when they get there, they don't find Brandon nor the car. They get back on the phone with Brandon and begin flashing their headlights. Brandon said he could see a light in the distance and said he would walk towards it. Staying on the phone with his dad during his journey, Brandon told him that he passed some fences and could overhear water flowing in the distance. Shortly after 2:30 a.m., 47 minutes into their phone call, Brandon suddenly shouted, "Oh shit," and then silence. His parents hung up and tried to call back again and again, but there was no answer. His parents continue driving around searching for their son or the car, but can't find anything. The next day, police start their search, and to add to the mystery, investigators looked at Brandon's cell phone records, and it indicated that Brandon was actually 25 miles from where he said he was, in a town called Porter. This led to the discovery of his car in a ditch nearby. In the following months, police and volunteers combed the area on foot, horseback, and all-terrain vehicles. But to this day, Brandon has never been found. Brandon's state of mind has been called into question, but both friends at the party and Brandon's parents said that he seemed fine. Mysterious. Overall, a really sad case for Brandon's family. What are your thoughts?
I'm all thinking worst fears, man.
In the mystical lands of ancient India, not all demons were born evil. The Brahmins, the highest of castes, held immense knowledge and power. But what happens when one falls from grace, committing unspeakable sins? They become the Brahma-Rakshasa, a dreaded demon with a Brahman's knowledge, adorned with skulls, feasting on flesh, wielding both Vedic and demonic powers. Feared by many, yet deep within some seek redemption to escape their accursed existence. Today, these mythical beings continue to captivate, reminding us of the duality of knowledge and ethics.
So they're basically saying that I guess the knowledge, it corrupted them? Because like you said, a couple of them fell. Just by the way they look, I was like, man, they definitely Oh, some demon timing right there, bro. What do you guys think, Seekers, man? Does all knowledge corrupt?
Another scary story, and this one comes from India. So the day we got to India, my parents needed to go to the bank. The banks were open till late. It was already about 9 p.m. So they decided to leave us with the neighbors to babysit us. So after my parents had gone, the babysitter decided to sneak us out to go watch a movie at the theaters. The movie's name was Ganjana. It was a horror movie. Now, after watching that movie, it was already about 12 a.m., midnight, and we were really tired, so we decided to just go straight home. Usually, we take the main road home, but there were too many people that could recognize us, so we decided to take the long route, and that would go through a Muslim cemetery. Back then, I wasn't really scared of jinns or ghosts and spirits because I thought, what could really go wrong? The second me and my neighbors stepped into the cemetery, I felt a presence, and it felt like it was touching me. And the jinn would not let us look behind. We could only control our legs. It felt like hours when we tried to pass through cemetery, but some way or another we got through it. The next day, me and my neighbor got really ill. Till now, I'm still scared of going through the cemetery. So they do say that if you see a dark spirit, any kind of spirit, you get ill or sick. It could last for like a week or 2 weeks, but yeah, that does happen. But you could have also been really scared of the scary movie you just watched, and then you're walking through a cemetery, so you're like psyching your brain out to think that way too. I don't know, but either way, we believe you. Send me more, guys. These are so good.
Just took those good kids to see that scary movie. That's a damn
Dayan
shame.
witches. Dayan is a witch in Indian folklore. The primary source of their power is her long plaited hair that is used as an additional limb. They also have monstrous black nails and feet that face backward.
Hey, we learning out here.
Have you ever heard of the Indian urban legend of Bullet Baba? The legend revolves around a motorcycle that is believed to have supernatural powers and provides protection to travelers. The story goes that in 1988, Ombana, whose real name was Om Singh Rathore, was riding his Royal Enfield motorcycle late at night when he lost control and crashed into a tree. He tragically lost his life in the accident. The police impounded the motorcycle and took it to the police station as part of their routine procedure. However, the motorcycle mysteriously reappeared at the accident site the following day. The police, perplexed by this unusual occurrence, seized the motorcycle once again and emptied its fuel tank. They even chained it to prevent it from being moved. Despite their efforts, the motorcycle miraculously returned to the crash site once more. The locals perceived this as a sign and began worshipping the motorcycle as a guardian deity. They constructed a shrine around it, where the Bullet Baba's motorcycle stands to this day. Devotees offer prayers, flowers, and incense at the shrine seeking protection for their journeys. According to the legend, it is believed that Ombana's spirit resides in the motorcycle, and he continues to protect travelers from accidents and mishaps on the road. It is said that those who pass by the shrine offer their respects to Bullet Baba by lighting incense and pouring water over the motorcycle. Furthermore, there is a belief that if anyone steals or disrespects the motorcycle, they will face misfortune or be involved in a serious accident. Several anecdotes and stories circulate about individuals who ignored the sanctity of the shrine and suffered unfortunate consequences soon after.
This is why you have to...
Man, what the hell? That's one of the most bizarre stories you come across of these clips we see in Seekers, like the freaking motorcycle bike kept returning to the place where the incident happened at, man. They even chained it up and took out the gas and it still ended up there. You guys want to deep dive into that one? Because that one was bizarre, man. Blowing my mind.
Always be careful about what comes out of your mouth. I was gone to Jammu, India, and I went to go visit Vaishno Devi Temple. It's a Hindu temple. It's about 5,200 feet above sea level, and it's about 12 to 13 kilometers from the base of the starting of the temple, and you have to like go up this mountain. It usually takes about 6 to 8 hours depending on how fast you walk.
Damn.
So nowadays you can take a helicopter up, especially because there's like old people, little kids that are all doing this with their families. Or you, back in the day when I went, which was like 15 years ago, you could take a donkey. You could go on top of a donkey and go up. This is the starting, the base of the temple, and every day they get about 30,000 to about 35,000 people that go and like pay their respects at this temple. As you can see, there's like a windy road, and this goes all the way up, which takes about like 6 to 8 hours.
It's like a snake.
My friend thought, okay, she's not gonna be able to do this 6 to 7 hour, 8 hour hike. So then they ended up giving me this donkey right here, like this guy up here. And me and my friend would just trade off, like for halfway she'd go on it, and halfway I'd go on it. So the reason people go to this temple is if you are, say, childless and you want a child, to wish that. So basically your wishes come true. If you're poor, to give you wealth. If you have no sight, to give you eyesight, and you know, so forth. So as you get closer to the entrance, it's just jam-packed with people, like literally butt to butt. Like everyone is so close. This is the entrance to the cave. When I went, this is what it looked like, and there was everyone lined up, like, you know, back to each other, and everyone was in good spirits, like super high energy. Everyone's like, Sare bolo, jai mata di, jor se bolo, jai mata di, and that's what they were doing. And I was like so into it. I was getting into it and singing with them. What the entrance looks like now. Those of you who've been to India, you guys all know that there's no such thing as structure and lineups. Like people usually push in the lineups. So that's literally what was happening here. Everyone was just pushing to get to where they, like, you know, go do jai, mathadik and stuff, where they go bow towards the shrine. It's literally like a holy cave amidst the folds of the Trikuta mountain. So as we're chanting, I didn't realize it, but I completely almost missed the shrine because it was so small. It took forever to get there, and then when we got there, the actual shrine was so tiny. So as you can see, it's right there and way up there, that red thing. This is what it looks close up. Those little round things on the bottom are called pindis. They're rock formations, and in this temple there's no idols, no statues, nothing else besides this. As soon as we came out of the
just rocks.
As soon as we came out of the temple, I jumped on the donkey, and I turned to my friend who's walking beside the donkey as we're walking down this 5,200 feet mountainous area. I go to her, oh, we just came here with a negative attitude. I said this. I was like, oh, we just came here to see 3 rocks. Like, what the hell? I can't believe people put their children and old people through this just to see 3 rocks. As soon as those words came out of my mouth, I kid you not, the donkey slipped over the side. It was a wide area, but I don't know why it went on that side. It slipped off the side of the hill, and it literally slipped like this, and I was holding on to it for dear life. And right below us was literally 1,500 freaking feet, but there's a little edge, like not even a foot long edge that like his foot landed on, so he was like kind of stable because it wasn't super far down where he landed, but it was like this much off, falling off the cliff. And everyone got around. There was like a guy who like handled the donkey. He was like pulling it up. My friends were pulling it up, grabbed me off of it, and I got off of it. And I was like, holy shit. I was so scared. I didn't go on the donkey again. I walked all the way down. But I was so scared because just as I uttered those words out of my mouth, that happened to me. It was like someone was listening to me and was like, you better fucking get your ass in check. Don't say that shit about a place where people actually have so much good energy and they're just there for wishes. I don't know what it was, but that was actually so scary. It was like such a near-death experience.
Like we said earlier in the videos, man, there's power in words, man. I guess she said something negative about that sacred space, man, and the universe, whatever, the energy, whatever, it came just right back at her. We didn't even have to wait like a minute, a second. Like she said, legit happened as soon as she said those words uttered out of her mouth, man. These powers are not word seekers, man. That's how I always try to preach positivity, man, in the world as much as I can. Ooh. That sounds scary. Pointing at They just living with it? That spirit or entity? Could be me. The hell? It's definitely looking for something. You can tell by the way they're creeping around the house. The hell moved that chair?
It was this guy from India, right? Basically, up till he was like 20-something years old, his life was normal as then randomly, bro, in his mid-20s, he started to complain to his family that he was having like abdominal pain like crazy. He was like, yeah, like I don't know, like my stomach and like this all right here has been like hurting and shit recently. His parents are like, bruh, you know, maybe you're just having like a stomach ache or some shit, bruh. Just see what's good for a couple days and then let us know. It kind of like technically goes away, but it doesn't. Like he's like, all right, it doesn't feel as bad, I'm just gonna leave it alone. He leaves it alone, bro, up until, cause like I think at the time it was probably like 1970s when, you know, he was like in his 20s. Up until 1999, he ends up going to the hospital because he literally could not breathe because this thing was like blocking his airway. Like, and he goes to the doctor. They're like, okay, cool, we're gonna see what's good with you. They start to cut this dude open, bro. Mike, when they cut this guy open, bro, you're not gonna believe what's inside this guy's stomach. Oh, baby, Mike. I put the...
What the hell? He had a whole baby inside of him, man? That sounds something like out of science fiction. Like you said, there was abdominal pain or something. And you went with it, lived for that pain for how many years? And there was a baby? We're going to have to check up on that, Seekers, man. Or if you guys want to check up, tell me down below, bro. But I'm definitely going to have to check up on that one. Going to have to try to confirm that.
Creepy urban legends you didn't know about India. The Indian village of Kuldhara was seemingly abandoned overnight, and no one knows why, though there are a few eerie theories. There are structures in the town of Kuldhara that date back to the 13th century, but no one has lived there since 1825, when all its residents seemingly vanished into thin air. According to local lore, 1,000 villagers completely abandoned their home overnight, without a trace. No one knows why they left, where they went, or even saw them leave. Theories as to why they left range from poisoned wells to a greedy ruler levying high taxes to a dwindling water supply, though none of those explain why the inhabitants left so suddenly. You might be wondering why no one has tried to resettle the town. That's where the legend comes in. It's said that the village chief cursed the land, apparently. Anyone who tries to live there will die. The Indian Paranormal Society spent a night there and reported disembodied whispers. Screams, noises are common in dark hours. Many of our members have witnessed apparitions, heard footsteps, experienced unusual touch and so on.
They spent the whole night there? Man, like I said, I always gotta give it up to the people, man, who try to explore the paranormal, man, because like you have to have a different type of bravery, man, to go into that type of situation, all that dark energy and stuff. I can't be around that. Freaking story behind that, man. It's haunting though. You guys have any theories on that?
What you're about to witness was recorded by soldiers in India when the villagers complained of strange noises coming out of a cave. The soldiers went to investigate, and this is what they encountered.
We saw that, man. Was that an edit or was that legit? That one was kind of iffy, but You saw something poke, like peek out, and then went back in, like in, out, in, out. Right there, and then it was gone. These clips, man.
Let's talk about India's youngest and most infamous serial killer, Amarjit Sadda. He was only 8 years old when he struck. He preyed on children, and his first victim was his sister, who was only 8 months old. Shortly after murdering her, Amarjit struck again, murdering his 6-month-old cousin. Even more chilling is that the family and villagers knew about these murders but chose to stay silent. They deemed the killings as internal family issues, not realizing that Amarjit would soon strike and murder someone outside of his family. In 2007, Junjun Devi, the mother of a 6-month-old baby girl, left her daughter at the school daycare to do her chores. When she returned, she found her child was missing. When the news spread, people feared the worst, and since they knew about Amarjit's past, they confronted him. After being questioned, Amarjit showed no remorse. He gleefully told the villagers about how he strangled the child to death and then led them to a shallow grave where she was buried. He told them he killed her by beating her with a brick. He then buried her with debris and grass that was around the area and went back home after she was dead. He was arrested for the murder of Khushbu Devi after his confession. Unfortunately, since the family covered up the first 2 murders, Amarjit wasn't found guilty of them. Despite this, he was questioned about how he attacked his victims and why. Instead of providing these details, he looked at the police, smiled, and asked if they could give him some more biscuits. He showed no remorse, and whenever the police tried to ask him about the crimes, he would stop talking and smile. Superintendent Amit Lodha ordered that the case be looked at from a psychological perspective. Patna-based psychoanalyst Shamshad Hussain looked into the case and found that the child lacked remorse and enjoyed inflicting pain on others, making him a true psychopath. It also seemed that he had a brain issue which led to a chemical imbalance. This in turn led to increased gratification from inflicting pain on others. He was diagnosed with a conduct disorder that was claimed to be hereditary. This led him to commit acts of violence because he had no sense of right or wrong. Amarjit was tried, and according to India's laws, it's speculated that he was sentenced to serve 3 years in juvenile prison since children can't serve more. It's also speculated that due to his mental state and the extreme threat he posed to society, that he was placed in a mental institution after he served his time. Amarjit's whereabouts are currently unknown. However, in 2015, he contacted the Post-Mortem Post. He claimed he was in a children's facility where he would be till he turned 18. Since he would be over 20 now, if his claim is valid, he'd be allowed to leave the facility. It's unclear whether he'll go on to commit more crimes or if he was successfully treated. Some people speculate that Amarjit wasn't the original culprit and that he was framed for the murders. The nature of the crimes and the elaborate hiding spots were too much to have been committed by an 8-year-old child. Despite this theory, the fact that he was excited to reveal what he did and his reaction when he was questioned, it seems that Amarjit Sadda was in fact India's youngest serial killer.
That's an insane story, man, with twists and turns, especially at the end. I didn't think people would even say that it's too elaborate for, I guess, like an 8-year to do that, man. So there's more thoughts and theories about what really happened. This world, man. When we read these clips together, Seekers, it always freaking expand my minds, man. Learning new things every single day, bro. Man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload a video. Follow me on my social medias down below. Hit that post notification bell, man. Comment down below, even if it's just to say hi, guys, man. It just helps in the algorithm. So really appreciate the support, man. As you guys can see, I switched out my uploading schedule this month, man. I just want to try it out. Just trying out some new things for the channel. Gonna continue to keep growing with each and every single video. I'm out. Peace, you too.